how I stopped playing video games. So I think for most of my life I've been playing video games since I was like a little kid. As a 5-year-old, I remember playing SpongeBob the movie game on the PlayStation 2. And I remember the last boss battle, King Neptune, I could never beat. And then from there, it was like the Lego games, and playing GTA 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and I think Minecraft, and then grade 7. Yeah, grade 7 was Fortnite, that's when it first came out. And then on PlayStation and playing Battlefield. Battlefield 1 was like my most played game out of any game that I've played. Like I just played Conquest, like I'd be like top 5 on the leaderboard. And now I barely touch video games. I will admit the last time I played video games was about a few weeks ago with Elden Ring. But that's like, even then, do I still consider myself as a gamer? No, because I'll show you why. But I started to stop playing video games around grade 12. Because grade 11, if you don't know in the Australian system, if you go into like ATAR, the Australian Tertiary Administration Rank pathway, that's more of the university pathway where you're given a rank where you are scored amongst your cohort. And grade 11 is sort of like the preliminary, like it's sort of like the practice round, the dress rehearsal before grade 12 when it's like the real thing, when it counts towards your ATAR. And in grade 11, I remember we played like Minecraft servers, we'd play on like Minecraft Realms, like one mate would be on Xbox, the other mate would be on PS4, the other mates would be on PC. I think I was on PC as well. We would just play AFK fish farm all night, keep the computer running, and have like our own economy. Like it was great fun with the boys. But then I think around grade 12, us boys, the guy, because there was one mate, his name's Bailey, and him and I were sort of like the Minecraft experts, like not to toot my own horn, but like he was like mainly redstone, I was like mainly the basic game mechanics of, you know, mining wood, going getting iron, over cobblestone, getting iron, getting diamonds, getting netherite, like upgrading, AFK fish farms, making a lot of other farms, like all of that. And he'd be like the technical redstone side of things. Like he'd make massive mob farms, like gold farms with like zombie pigments. But then eventually, I think grade 12, we just stopped playing video games. It was like, it's just a waste of time. Waste of time in the fact when you don't do it with the boys. Because most of these games, right, I think particularly the major reason why I stopped playing video games, or what enabled me or allowed me to stop playing video games, is just not doing it with the boys. As much as I love the boys and they're my mates, like I stopped, like Discord was a large platform we would use to hop on games, but most guys wouldn't play the video games if their boys weren't there. Like, it gets to a point where the COD grind becomes boring. Playing on that single world in Minecraft becomes boring. Like, the grind gets boring. Because there's something, I think, innate within us, or, you know, in the back of your mind. Like, it's not really a good use of your time. Like, I will admit this myself, I do this particularly with YouTube. If I go down the entertainment rabbit hole of just watching YouTube shorts, like I know it's a waste of my time. I know I could be doing something else. That's why sometimes when I boot up a game, I get more enjoyment from the idea of playing rather than actually playing. Because as soon as I boot up, I think remember with, was it Battlefield 5? Yeah, Battlefield 5. I'll play like 1 or 2 rounds of Conquest and then I'm done. Like I can't. Like my dopamine receptors, like the baseline went down. It's like I need more stimuli, and it's not just giving me enough stimuli, but I just get tired. And most times I'll just go on the menu screen and just go, nah, I quit. I'll do something else. But I've mentioned in the video Elden Ring, because I've been told it was like Game of the Year in 2022, and I gave it a go, and it's fantastic. I think I poured in 40 hours, which I shouldn't admit on camera. Like, I shouldn't admit. But I see it the equivalent of like watching a movie. It's good like once in a while, maybe play a game just for the story, but don't be on it all the time, because you can be doing something far more better with your time. So naturally, I think it's just the environment I put myself in that stopped me playing video games. Like as much, like my brother, God forbid, he plays Rainbow Six Siege, grinds all day. He's like top 20 in the world on PlayStation. Plays nearly constantly. Goes to work, still plays constantly. Like we have the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5. I have a PC that actually barely works. So that's also another reason why I don't play video games, because my PC can't run any games. So that's like a great excuse to go, what's the point in playing a game that's like 2 FPS? So even I've just got myself out of that environment and just went, I'm gonna just choose to do something else. Like video games is just not an activity I have a choice or something I can choose. Then I don't use Discord, so I'm not with the boys. And when I do hang out with the boys, I hang out with them in person rather over a video call. So like our time together, because we don't spend enough time. It's just most of our time now is actually separated, because before, when we were in high school in grade 12, we'd be constantly with each other for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. But now, after graduating, we actually have to organize this stuff, and it's more meaningful that way. And it's not a hassle. Well, it is a bit of a hassle compared to, all going to the same school. But now I don't have the convenience of just hopping on a Discord call. Like, it doesn't become something meaningless like that. I can actually, if a mate calls up or sends a message like, do you want to hang out? It's like, let's go. So now if you're asking me, so what if video game was never a habit for me, actually, because also having a brother and only having one console at the time, it was really hard. So now being the older brother, I just grew out of it. And I think with video games, you'll have to eventually grow out of it. You'll get to a point where you mentally choose to decide which game to play, but not, but not make it a daily habit. Like I knew the daily habit of like coming after school and then hopping on the console. Like that's what you would do because it's out of habit. But now, if you don't have that environment, it becomes a choice. So now, for you, because I know most of you guys of your mates who play video games. But is it a good use of your time? Probably not. You're probably just passing the time. The only thing, again, I can't criticize you for how you live your own life. The only piece of advice I can give is don't think this is going to last forever. Like for me, I know I might play the odd game here or there. Like, for example, Assassin's Creed Mirage, when it comes out, I might play that. Just play the story, then be done with it. And again, my self-identity, I see myself as someone who used to game, but I'm someone who just participates in the video games. Would you say I'm a gamer? Like, I can talk the talk, that's the thing. Like, I can talk the talk, I can talk about, graphics cards, FPSs, talk about the new game development, the story. Like, I can talk all that, because that was my childhood. It was my childhood. There's like a saying in the Bible. I can't remember. It was like a memory verse in church. When I spake like a child. It's like when I was a child, I spake as a child, I thought as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. It's like you have to learn eventually when to put away those childish things and accept the role or the sacrifice that is the responsibility of being an adult or being the new like a man. Again, I don't want to criticize you because this is speaking personally for myself. I will probably indulge probably 1 or 2 games a year. Like that'll probably be the most that I'll play. And the games, I'll be more inclined if it's with the boys, but then again, I'd rather just hang out with them in person rather than over a video game. Because I get more value out of having our genuine company our shared company than just a mutual activity of video games. But also probably having self-awareness about the bad habit. Like, I remember playing Elden Ring, like, I was 35 hours in, and the last 5 hours I was like defeating the Millennia Blade of Nicola, like one of the hardest bosses in Elden Ring. And my mum walked in and was like, Denzel, you need to stop wasting your time playing video games. And again, I didn't dispute, because I knew she was right. She was right. So I was like, Mum, once I finish this game, I'm done. Like, the better choice was be just put away the childish things and be done with it. But I finished the game and I'm done. I'm done with it. Because now, another bad habit of mine is being on social media too much, and I want to replace it with education. And I've spoke about this before, probably in a video as well. You have to replace these bad habits with good habits, because if you don't replace it with any habit, it's going to just re-emerge again, and you give yourself the option to have it re-emerge again. So again, it's probably just your environment that you're in, also the nature of your interactions with your mates. Because if your environment with your social interactions with your mates is only in video games, ask yourself, if you took away the video games, would you still be friends? Well, I know with my mates, of course they would be. But for some of you, like, genuinely reflect, would I still be friends with my online mate or this mate of mine if we didn't play video games together? Would we still be able to talk about things? Would we still be able to talk about life, our own lives, our family, friends, our jobs, like, or do we have the game, the dopamine heavy game to just keep us together? So genuinely ask yourself that. Then that becomes a question about friendship and value exchange. Because are you friends with your friend, or are you just friends with the activity that you do together? But yeah, that's how I stopped playing video games. I just made myself have the environment where I don't have the choice to play video games. I make it a mental choice of choosing to play which game rather than a daily habit, and replacing those bad habits and replacing it with better habits like reading, watching podcasts, learning, exercising, like all that. But yeah, like, again, I will keep on saying this. I cannot judge you for how you live your life, but you just have to think of the pros and cons. And I saw myself wasting too much time. Wasting too much time having gaming as a daily habit. But now I reframe it so it's like watching a movie. But even then, it's probably better if I just don't play at all. But some games are fun, but I don't understand those who just keep playing when the level of enjoyment literally dies. That I don't understand. That is when I go, so now are you trying to achieve a virtual goal, a goal that's not tangible, unlike real life? So that's like what most of the self-improvement space argue, is why waste your time on video games when you can, instead of grinding away in the virtual world, start grinding in the real world, and you get tangible results compared to just virtual results, like these achievements or rewards, like all this stuff. Once you turn off the console, all of it's gone. Like, all of it's gone. And then some people argue there's like cognitive benefits to playing video games, like reaction time and all that. It's like, again, you probably have to do your own research. But honestly, don't cope. Like, don't cope. If you know it's a bad habit, if you're wasting time, just don't cope. Just say it for how it is. If it is a bad habit, reduce it. Like, if you can't go cold turkey, just reduce it to a level where it's manageable, where you can get to a point where you go, yeah, I can see myself not doing this all the time. That could be your best outcome. But for me, my best outcome was just not playing at all, just playing momentarily, and that's it. So if you can pick out pieces of advice from this video, because I know like one of my mates was talking about how sometimes I'm all over the place and I don't elaborate on some interesting points. Where it's just, what's the saying? Chew on the meat, but spit out the bones. So that's sort of how I stopped playing video games. So I hope this video helps.